doing two things at once. I'm posting on Facebook that I'm doing a live stream over here on YouTube, and I also click the start button. So, hi everybody. I hope you're having a good day. I hope everything's working the way it's supposed to, and I hope you're ready to learn a little bit of English. I think this will be a good lesson. It's sometimes hard for me to think of a good title for what I know is a really good and awesome lesson. Sorry, I shouldn't say my own lesson is awesome, but hey, we'll start in 15 seconds. Let me just finish checking everything out. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson. Today I'm going to be talking about the names of ordinary things that have the word of in it. So sometimes I think of what I think is a good lesson, and I can't think of a great title to describe it. But the other day I was asked if I wanted a spoonful of sugar in my tea. And a few weeks ago I played cards at a friend's house and he got out a deck of cards. And so I wrote down those two names of things because I thought I could make a whole lesson of little names we have for things that are actually 3 words, sometimes 4, and they have the word of in the middle. And I just used 2 of them. So maybe not a great title, but I think it will be a very useful and good lesson for you. So once again, thanks for being here for this English lesson about ordinary things with the word of in the name. Okay, before we get started, I just want to say hi. It was good to take some time. Like, I didn't take a week off. I took a week to finish off the school year well. I'm not completely done yet, but I'm through the thick of it, we would say in English. So all I have left is a few meetings between now and next week, Thursday, and then I am free for the summer. And a couple cool things about that. Number one, I am going to see Brent. So if you are familiar with Brent, the American English teacher, he's currently on a trip, but he's coming home and I am going to go to Maine to see him in a couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun. We'll create some different content together. I suggested to him that we should do a video where we try American snack food. I don't know if we'll do that, but that's one of the things that we might do. Anyways, hi to Mode Eggs, Freddie Wolf, Know That, Lolly Lolly, Samuel, Wanda Prado, Ralph, scroll back, Cat Diary, Clive is here, Balkis. Let me get the glasses out. I'll say hi to a few people and then we'll get started. Perkins, Burgurmra, Wellington, Fritz, Nuriten, Bitan, Key Park, of course, John Wedge, Freddie Wolf, Wanda Prado, said some of those names already. Good to see all of you. Let me do an audio check, read the rules, and then we'll get started. Yeah, so the rules. Use the chat to have fun English conversations. Either talk about yourselves, talk to each other, make fun of me, comment on the lesson. Some people try to take notes in the chat. All of that's good stuff. But please don't have conversations in other languages. I know it's tempting sometimes, but try to use the chat as English practice as well as listening to me to learn some new things. If you have a question, please use the link that Nightbot will share. Although I'm not 100% sure. Oh yeah, Nightbot's working. There we go. Let me just verify that that is working. Yes, all systems go. Please don't ask questions in the chat. It just kind of fills the chat and it's hard for me to keep track of. But should we get this lesson started? I think we should. Hi, Hafiz. Hi, Lorianne. Hi, Li Chen. Hi to everyone. Hi, Nightbot. Thanks for helping out. Nightbot's just a bot, by the way. Okay, here we go. Scrap of paper. So do you ever have to make a note to yourself? Do you ever have to make a reminder? Sometimes you just want to write something on a scrap of paper. So a piece of paper, there's another term or name with of in it, is a whole sheet of paper. But sometimes you just take a little piece of paper. So often I will do this. I will find a scrap of paper when I know I have to bring one of my vehicles to the garage. Let's say it's Monday and I have to bring a vehicle to the garage Tuesday morning. I will tape this, something like this, to the front door. I will find a scrap of paper. I will write a little note to myself and I will tape it to the front door. So the next morning, if I forget, then on my way out of the front door, I will see the scrap of paper that I have taped there, and that will remind me that I need to bring my car to the garage. Tank of gas. Sometimes you need to put a tank of gas in your vehicle. It's kind of a funny term, isn't it? Like my van is running out of gas. I need to get a tank of gas on the way home. So your car has a gas tank. By the way, we in Canada call it gas. I know in other places it might be called petrol or have another name. But if your fuel gauge or gas gauge is on empty, you might need to buy a tank of gas. You might need to stop at a gas station to fill up. You might need to buy a tank of gas on your way home from work or school. Hopefully you don't have to buy it on the way there. That's a little bit, if you're late and then all of a sudden you realize you need a tank of gas, that can be kind of frustrating. Roll of tape. So the other day, Jen said, when you're at the hardware store, can you get me a roll of masking tape? There are a lot of different kinds of tape, but all tape comes in a roll. I think most tape comes in a roll. A roll of masking tape, a roll of Scotch tape. So we use masking tape for a variety of things. And Jen said, hey, can you get me a roll of tape when you're at the hardware store? So again, we could just say tape, but I think it's very common to say roll of tape. Is there a roll of tape somewhere around? I need to tape a scrap of paper to the door to remind me of something, and I need to find the roll of tape because I need some tape to be able to do that. Tray of ice cubes. So we are currently in, I want to say a heat wave, but it's only 32 degrees Celsius every day, which for many of you isn't considered that hot. But for us here in my part of Canada, we have been in a bit of a heat wave. And so quite often at night, I will make a tray of ice cubes. I will get an ice cube tray. That's what I would call it when it's empty. And then I would put water in it because I want to make a tray of ice cubes. I want to make a tray of ice cubes for the next day because it's just really, really nice when you come in from outside and you're really hot to get a tray of ice cubes out of the freezer and to put some ice cubes in a glass of water and have some cool water. And then here's a pretty common one, cup of tea. And in Canada, we usually say, we don't say cuppa, like the short version that they do in some English-speaking countries, but we do sometimes have a cup of tea. By the way, I just noticed something. Let's go back really quick. Notice how I say this. Scrap of paper, tank of gas, roll of tape. I actually say the of. Roll of tape? No, roll of tape. Tray of ice cubes. Cup of tea. So sometimes when I speak quickly, I use as the pronunciation for of. So cup of tea or cup of tea. And then sometimes when you have tea, you put a spoonful of sugar in that tea. This is one of the reasons why I'm doing this lesson is because someone used the word spoonful. They said, do you want some sugar in your tea? And I said, yeah, just one spoonful. And I thought, I've never taught the word spoonful. So a spoonful of a spoonful of sugar. You can have, the other night, Jen asked me a question, but I had just put a spoonful of cereal in my mouth, not sugar, cereal. But yes, it's kind of it's not like an accurate measure, but it's basically you take a spoon and if it has that much sugar on it, you would call it a spoonful of sugar. Pack of paper. So my printer, you can't see, is over there. We don't print a lot, but I do print little phrases for my second channel, which, by the way, I'll be starting again next Wednesday. And sometimes we run out of paper and then we have to buy a pack of paper or a pack of paper, as I would say it quickly. This is a pack of graph paper. You can buy a pack of printer paper. You can buy a pack of photocopier paper. Printer paper and photocopier paper are the same. But yes, sometimes you need a pack of paper because you have run out. And then, of course, if you play cards, then you'll recognize this. If you play cards, you need a deck of cards in order to play it. We have a few decks of cards around the house. That's hard. I had to pluralize it there. But a standard deck of cards has 52 cards, everything from an ace to a king. Usually we take out the jokers, if you know what a card set looks like or a deck of cards looks like. But yeah, sometimes you'll be at a friend's house and someone will say, let's play a card game. I'll go find a deck of cards and we will play Rummy or Go Fish is a kid's game that I like to play with my kids long ago. Dollop of whipped cream. As I was planning this lesson, I thought, I want to teach the word dollop. So if you look here, there is a bowl of berries. Looks like blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, maybe some blackberries. And on top, there is some whipped cream. And we would call this a dollop of whipped cream. When you say it fast, though, it sounds like whipped cream, like a dollop of whipped cream. But dollop is like that amount. And a dollop looks like that. So we all often use this word when talking about whipped cream, a dollop. It's anytime you are putting something on top of something, food, and if it looks like that, it would be a dollop. So a dollop of whipped cream. Not a super common word to use, but still a fun word to say and a fun word to teach. You might be familiar with this one. If you need eggs, you go and buy a carton of eggs. You might just say a dozen eggs if that is how many eggs are in the dozen. It's pretty standard here in Canada for a carton of eggs to have 12 eggs in it, a dozen eggs. We can also buy a carton with 18 in it. But sometimes you need a lot of eggs. And in that situation, you would buy a flat of eggs. So a flat, I believe, is 2.5 dozen. Yes, I think so. I think there are 2.5 dozen eggs in a flat. What would that make it? 30 eggs? Can't do the math very quickly. But if you buy eggs and you don't need a lot, you might just buy a carton of eggs. But if you need a lot of eggs, you might buy a flat of eggs. We don't buy eggs because we have chickens, but sometimes the chickens don't lay for a little bit. And then we usually buy a carton of eggs every 3 days, or we buy a couple flats of eggs every 2 or 3 weeks. We eat a lot of eggs. So flat of eggs. Did I say flat or carton there? I think I said flat. Hey, let's look at some questions. Hopefully the forum is working. Yes, it definitely is. Let me get the first question on the screen from Ruslan. Hello, dear treasure of learning, Bob. Thanks, Ruslan. Thank you for your positive vibe lessons and good mood. Have a sunny weekend and a cool track by The Weeknd, sir. Nice. So The Weeknd is actually a singer-songwriter from Canada, if you didn't know that at the end. So have a nice weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and listen to some music from The Weeknd. And then thank you for your positive vibe. You can probably tell I had a good night's sleep. I do have to work through the summer on the farm and on YouTube, but life will be a little nicer going forward. The problem is I tend to talk too quickly when life is good. So I'll try to speak at a nice pace, but not too quickly and not too slowly. Thanks, Ruslan. So from Denny, hello, Bob. What do you like to snack on with a cup of tea? A bar of chocolate, a jar of honey, a packet of biscuits, a piece of cake, a slice of bread with peanut butter. With tea, I really like cookies. So I actually like a very plain cookie. I think you might call them biscuits in the UK. But yes, so that's what I would eat, definitely. Some kind of sweet cookie. Know that. Hello, Bob. Today I have a personal question and a little off topic. Do you already have any plans for your vacation? Thanks in advance, Bob. So at my age, because I have teenage kids and they don't all have their driver's license, most of my kids have jobs. So I will be driving some of my kids to and from work. Vacation wise, I am planning to go see Brent, as I mentioned at the beginning of July. Jen and I don't take long vacations, but we will most likely go to Toronto a few times this summer, maybe just for an overnight trip. So you leave on a Saturday, come home Sunday night. We'll probably just find a few little moments to get away with just the two of us. So great question. Hung says, hi, Bob. A grain is a countable noun, right? So does a pinch of salt have the same meaning as a grain of salt? By the way, what's the meaning of take it with a grain of salt? Thanks. So like a pinch of salt would be several grains of salt. A grain of salt would be one single grain of salt. I don't actually have one here. And when you take something with a grain of salt, it means You should question it a bit. You should not doubt it, but yeah, like be a bit skeptical. Let's look for the official meaning. Meaning of take something with a grain of salt. Yeah, so to not necessarily believe anything if it sounds exaggerated, to do your research to determine if something is actually factual. There you go. So here's a really lame farmer joke. Because wheat is grain, sometimes a farmer will take some wheat when they're harvesting it and they'll throw it at someone and say that it's a grain of salt because you're assaulting them with grain. Okay, never mind. I'm explaining the joke now, which makes it less funny. Let's see here. From our Jack of all trades, Bob, what are some of the things you really excel at apart from teaching? I have a pretty good understanding of technology. Most of my life, I have liked technology, have liked learning about technology. I'm fairly competent with computers. So I think I've forgotten some of it or haven't kept up. I wouldn't build my own computer anymore, but when I was younger, I often built my own computer. So that would be something. And then I do have quite a bit of knowledge about farming from growing up on a farm. Next question from Unsel. Hi, Unsel. Can the phrase a group of, a bunch of, a cluster of, and a set of be used interchangeably? The first two, yes. So I could say, oh, there were a bunch of students behind the school. There was a group of students behind the school. There was a bunch of students. There was a group of students. Cluster we don't use very often. It's kind of it's a word I know, but it's not used in common English very often at all. Like maybe like there's a cluster of grapes on the vine. That's when I would use it. But set of usually means like you can have a set of tools. You can have a set of screwdrivers. You can have a set of sewing needles. Like it usually refers to an amount of something, like not an exact amount. I think you know what I mean. Hopefully you do. Let's see. Next question from Henry. Hi, Henry. Hi, Teacher Bob. How often do you have a cup of joe or a cup of tea? Are you a coffee guy or a tea lover? Thank you. So I drink mostly water. I also drink almond milk because I need some calcium and it has calcium in it. I can't drink real milk, but I definitely like tea. I love coffee, but I can't have caffeine for various reasons. Mostly related to my heart. I can't have caffeine. So even decaf coffee is a little too much caffeine for me. So from Roman, hello, Teacher Bob. I want to ask you, what is the name of the river next to your farm? It is called the Welland River. That is the name of that. From Nam, from Vietnam. Hi, Sir Bob. When it comes to luggage, an uncountable noun, I wonder if two pieces of luggage has, little fix there, the same meaning as two suitcases. Which way you'd use in conversation? Thanks. So I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to take two pieces of luggage. I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to take two suitcases. It means pretty much the same thing, although suitcases are very specific. You know, if I had a suitcase and like a big bag, I could refer to it as two pieces of luggage. But if I said I have two suitcases, I would mean exactly that type of luggage. So luggage is a little more general. So when you refer to luggage, it could be a hockey bag. It could be a sports bag. It could be a suitcase. It could be your carry-on bag. All of that could be referred to as luggage, whereas suitcase is very specific. The Avril Lavigne fan. Hi, Teacher Bob. How can we describe when we need to put the clothes that were in the laundry machine on a place where there is sun to make it dry? We usually say that you're going to hang up the clothes, or you're going to hang the clothes on a clothesline. Maybe you have a string or wire. Or you would just say, I'm going to hang up the clothes outside. We have what are called drying racks. So you might say you're going to hang up the clothes on the drying rack. You can use hang, like I'm going to hang the clothes outside, but hang up is a little more specific. It's a better verb to use. Kane, hello Bob. Have you watched House of the Dragon 2? I think it's a popular drama in America. I haven't started watching it yet, but I plan to watch it this summer at some point. I did read all the books. I did watch the first series, and I did watch season 1 of House of the Dragon as well. So yes, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, one more question, and we will get back to the language, or to the lesson. Sorry, I'm reading the question and trying to talk at the same time. Shahid, hi sir, what are you? Oh, sorry. let me take a sip of water and learn to read. Hi sir, how are you? I hope you are having a wonderful day. Little correction. If I want to learn a new language, should I focus on grammar or not? Your big fan from Afghanistan. If I was going to learn a new language, there are 2 things I would do to start. Number 1, I would learn the most common 500 or 1,000 words in that language. I would just memorize them. I would want a solid base or foundation. So I would do a search, 500 most common Spanish words, and I would memorize them. The second thing I would do is I would buy a grammar book for the language I'm learning that's written in the language I speak. I think that's a good way to be introduced to the grammar of a language. If you're learning English and you're starting out or you have questions, finding a grammar book written in your native language that explains English grammar can be very, very helpful. Ayushi, do you like Canada's culture and do you like to eat chocolates? Yes, I like to eat chocolates. Yes, I like Canada. I like being Canadian. I like living here. I will never say that Canada is the best country in the world. I don't think it is, but I do think Canada is a very nice place to live, as are all of your countries, I'm sure. I'm sure every country has aspects of it. The landscape, the outdoors, the people, you all have aspects that are very, very beautiful. Okay, let me have a sip of water and talk about, looks like I'm going to talk about toilet paper. Yes. Roll of toilet paper. So when you go to the washroom, in a lot of countries, there are different ways to do this, but here we have rolls of toilet paper. Let me just, rolls of tape, rolls of toilet paper, cups of tea, packs of paper. So I'm just giving you the plural of a lot of these. Some of you might be interested in that as well. You know, cartons of eggs, scraps of paper. The first word is plural. Anyways, you go to the bathroom, you need to use this. You need a roll of toilet paper. Usually it's hanging on the wall beside the toilet. Maybe you have a fancy bidet and you don't need a roll of toilet paper. But generally, in most bathrooms or washrooms, you will find a roll of toilet paper hanging by the toilet. And there is always an argument about which way the toilet paper goes. Does it unroll this way and the paper comes down away from the wall, or does it roll the other way and the toilet paper is close to the wall? I don't know. What I do know, though, is when it's hot in the summer, I don't often have this. I don't often have a bowl of soup. I don't often make a pan of soup. So if you have soup, you usually have a bowl of soup. What did you eat for lunch yesterday, Bob? I had a bowl of soup. I had 2 bowls of soup. I was really hungry. Oh, where did you have the soup? I had soup at my mom's. She made a pan of soup for everyone. We all visited my mom and she had made a pan of soup. So we all had a bowl of soup. So kind of a measure of quantity. Again, not an exact measure. It's not like 250 grams of soup or 1 liter of soup, but it's the amount that you would eat. We would call it a serving size, actually. And then, of course, this is how you make soup in a pan, and you call that a pan of soup. It's really yummy when you go visit someone, and if they have a pan of soup simmering on the stove, the house is filled with the smell of soup, and it's really, really yummy. By the way, this looks like squash soup. Both of these soups. I do like squash soup. Might be pumpkin soup, but I would probably squash soup, butternut squash. Piece of chocolate, square of chocolate, chunk of chocolate. There are a variety of ways to refer to chocolate. Bar of chocolate if you have the whole thing. But generally, Jen and I, we buy really yummy dark chocolate. We buy dark chocolate with caramel and sea salt, and then we usually eat one piece of chocolate a day. So the bar of chocolate has 8 pieces or 8 squares, and we try to only eat a square of chocolate a day or a piece of chocolate each day. Sometimes it's hard, especially because this chocolate has a bit of salt in it, and when it's hot outside, sometimes you want to eat more, but it's fun to come in and have a little snack to have a piece of chocolate. Hey, this one's going to be a little hard to explain, but something can be a figment of your imagination. Sometimes kids will have an imaginary friend. Their imaginary friend is a figment of their imagination. So it doesn't exist in real life. Let me try to think of what an adult would have. I'm trying to think. Maybe you're expecting your boss to give you 3 weeks off every year, and your boss is like, that's just a figment of your imagination. You get 1 week off. You don't get 3 weeks off. So a figment of your imagination is something you imagine that isn't true. Kids who have imaginary friends, we would say the imaginary friend is a figment of their imagination. So just a few random things. As I was thinking about making this lesson, I was thinking, oh, there's a jar of pickles. I should put that in the lesson. There's a can of beans. I should put that in the lesson. So I have to look what the next one is. There's a basket of peaches. I should put that in the lesson. There's a box of crackers. There's a bag of chips. So let me go back. This is the part of the lesson where Bob looked in his fridge and looked in his cupboards to see what he could find. I don't eat a lot of pickles, but when you buy pickles, they come in a jar. A jar is usually a glass thing like this with a lid on top. If you look in your fridge, you might have a jar of pickles. You might have something else. You might have a jar of sweet peppers. But this is a jar of pickles. Can you get the jar of pickles from the fridge, please? This is a can of beans. A can is a metal cylindrical tin. So I actually like these beans, by the way. I think there's a British influence in Canada because we do eat baked beans. It's pretty common to find baked beans. Even sometimes if you go to a restaurant for breakfast, they might have baked beans, toast, eggs, baked beans, bacon. But this is a can. This is a can of beans. Also, this is not something I found, but I did find a basket of strawberries. But peach season is coming, and it will be nice because at market you can buy baskets of peaches, plural there. But yes, if I was at market and if it was peach season, I might buy a basket of peaches if I'm feeling really, really hungry. I like peaches, by the way. They are very, very yummy. Box of crackers. So here's the tricky thing. Between North America and other English-speaking parts of the world, we use different terms. To me, these are crackers. Crackers are usually flat, salty, little wafers, and there's a bunch of different kinds. When you eat a cracker, you might put cheese on your cracker, a little bit of cheese on your cracker. But to me, these are crackers. This is a box of crackers. I think we call them crackers because they make a cracking sound when you bite into them. And this is a bag of chips. This is actually my favorite kinds of chips. I love sour cream and onion flavored chips. I'm not sure if you can get these in other parts of the world, but if you ever come to visit me and want to bring me a gift, bring me a bag of chips. Bring me a bag of sour cream and onion chips. So again, in Canada and in the United States, I think most of the US, we call these chips. I think in British English, they might be crisps, but we call them chips. I think they call French fries chips, don't they? Yeah. Anyways, in Canada, these are chips. They come in a bag. You can buy a bag of chips. Very yummy, very tasty. In my part of Canada, we don't have milk sold this way. We have milk sold this way. But in most parts of the United States and in some parts of Canada, you can buy a gallon of milk. It might actually be 4 liters of milk in some parts of Canada. But in the United States, for sure, you can go buy a gallon of milk. We're out of milk. We need to buy milk. Can you stop at the store and buy a gallon of milk? So when I was in university, I lived in the United States, and we would buy a gallon of milk every 3 or 4 days. We drank a lot of milk. And then here we have, you buy a bag of milk, and inside the bag of milk, there's 3 more bags of milk. So let me make this a little bigger. This is not common in all of Canada. It's just in certain provinces. But in my part of Canada, you buy milk in bags. And inside that blue bag, there are 3 little clear bags, and you have to buy a special little pitcher like this. So you go and buy a bag of milk. Jen might say to me, Bob, can you buy a bag of milk today? We're out of milk, or we're running out of milk. Please buy a bag of milk on your way home. And then I usually forget. No, I don't. Usually Jen tapes a scrap of paper to the steering wheel of the van with a note on it. And then I remember. Hey, let's do members only chat. Fun for those of you who are members. And the rest of you, you don't need to leave. You can watch and enjoy. All this means is that I will be answering questions directly from the chat from members only. But I will also be answering questions from everyone else at the same time. So members, thank you for being members. For those of you that that aren't members, if you're interested, you get a short lesson plan on Mondays, an extra video on Wednesdays. You get your name in green during live English lessons, and you also get a crown by your name. So, and then I should qualify that. You get an extra video every week and a lesson on Monday about 47 or so weeks out of the year. There are weeks like this week where I don't do it, but for the vast majority of the year, you will get an extra thing. What does lecture and preach mean? So a professor can give a lecture. Preach is more of a religious word, but we also use it whenever someone is, like if I tell my kids, clean up after yourself, and I do it more than like 5 times, they might say, stop preaching at me. So it's like I'm so upset about it that it sounds like I am preaching. Let me get the next question. Actually, let me have a sip of water as well. From CS Team, how are you? In a couple months ago, I missed your live stream. Good to see you again. Have a great day. So a little fix in there, CS Team. So a couple months ago, I missed your live stream. You might be trying to say, I've missed your live stream for a couple months. That means every week you missed it. So that could be it. From Pari, which movie do you like? You know, I always say I like The Martian, but I'm trying to think of a movie that's coming out this summer that I really want to see, and I can't think of one. Usually in North America and around the world, there are summer blockbusters, like really super cool, fun, sometimes superhero type movies, and I can't think of one that's coming up. But let me get to the chat. Naomi T says, hi, I'm getting hungry. Sorry about that. John Wedge says, hi, Bob. No question today. I'm glad to be here. I've recently been promoted. Congratulations. So I'll be focusing on studying for the Microsoft MD 102 certification. Very cool. So that is the general response when someone says that they got promoted. Like if you are at work and you got promoted, like you got a raise and you got promoted, you generally say congratulations. Hafia says, Ralph, oh, I only know some. Oh, I got to scroll back to see what they're talking about. Oh, Metallica, heavy metal band. Samuel says, I just became a member. Welcome to the channel, Samuel. Thanks for helping support it, and I hope you enjoy the extra things. Mode says, Mode Eggs, hey, I'm just wondering why you say a pan of soup and not a pot of soup. Yeah, it's interesting. It might be a local thing. You know, I'm going to make a big pot of soup. I'm going to make a big pan of soup. I am more likely to choose the word pan. It is not incorrect to say pot, though, a pot of soup. I think it might just be a regional thing, or it might even be a family thing. Both are probably equally common. Pan is not wrong. Pot is not wrong. But I would probably say pan of soup. And I don't know why. Now I have to figure out why I say that. I have to listen to people talking about soup for the next little while. Let's see here. Michael, stack of silage or pile of silage according to your last member's video? Probably pile of silage. Yes. Yeah. I'm just wondering. Silage is fodder for cattle or feed for cattle, for cows. So I would probably say pile, yes. Lolly says, Bob, do you watch K-dramas sometimes? And do you like K-pop? I'm a fan of BTS. I do like BTS, but I am not someone who regularly watches shows from Korea or listens to Korean music. Know that. Do you have to go to work today, Bob? Yes, but it's more flexible. So we don't have classes. We're actually it's still exam week. I do not give an exam today, but I do have a meeting with a couple teachers at 11 a.m. and I do have a bit of work to do, but I'm not stuck to a rigid schedule anymore. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, I do have to work. A sip of water. Oh yes. I will take a sip of water and also mention that that is a term with of. Sip of water. A tiny, tiny amount of water. So yeah, know that I'm busy, but you know, when your hours are flexible, but you're busy, it's just a little easier to manage, right? Like yesterday I had to take Walter to the vet. By the way, you might see a little clip of that in Jen's next video. We're not sure. He hurt his paw. Everything's good. But yesterday I had to take him to the vet. So it was nice to be a little more flexible. Hafia says, congrats on the promotion to John Wedge. Very cool. By the way, congrats is a legitimate short form of congratulations when speaking informally. John says, thank you. Mode says, congrats, boss. Nice work. Brent is here, popping in for a minute. Hello, Bob. What time is it where you are, Brent? It's, I guess it's not too bad. It's probably early to mid afternoon. John says, thanks. Know that says hi to Brent. We say barrel of soap. Yeah, bar of soap. I should have included that. Bar of soap here. John saying hi to Brent. I'm so happy you mentioned my name. No problem, Samuel. It's good to see you. And again, thanks for becoming a member. Let's see. Brent saying hi to a few people. Very cool. Oh, I got to scroll down here. Thanks for your answer, Bob from Lolly Lolly. No problem. Trying to catch up on the chat if you're wondering what I'm doing. Hafias, Lolly, I watched a bit of Korean horror, Parasite the Grey. I recently finished. I'm not sure I want to watch anything that's horror related. Freddie, hi Bob, thanks for sharing all your amazing knowledge. In France, the milk is mostly sold in bottles or briques en carton. Doesn't the milk bags be too fragile? Sometimes, but they're quite durable actually. You're surprisingly durable. You just have to be careful when you're bringing it home. And the waste is much less, right? Brent says 4 o'clock here in Turkey. Very cool. Still planning on driving down, Brent, just so you know. Plans have not changed. I'm looking forward to it. If my passport comes in time. So I'm sure it will. They said it would, but we'll see. I was a little late in renewing that. Anyways, Hafias, how's the weather there to Brent? I bet you it's hotter for Brent than me right now. From Mode Eggs, do you like all dressed ruffles? I've never tried them, but they often get mentioned along with ketchup chips as examples of Canadian food. I don't mind them, like all dressed, barbecue, ketchup. All those flavors are a little too salty for me. I think the sour cream and onion chips actually have a little bit of sweetness to them, like just a touch. Anna, I enjoy the videos where your wife works on the farm. Oh, thanks, Anna. Yes, Jen does have a YouTube channel, as I've mentioned before. I don't mention it. Jen doesn't want me to mention it all the time, but she's like, your followers are going to get tired of you mentioning my channel all the time, but I will put a link in the chat. If you are interested in seeing a little bit more of the farm, there is a link there for you to follow if you want to go and see Jen's channel later. Brent says, I'll be there. Oh, we're waiting for the government. Oh, I'll get plans ready for 2025. This is the Canadian government. Everything works like clockwork. I hope the Canadian government isn't watching. Our government is the same as any government. Um, it just takes forever sometimes for them to get stuff done. Let's see here. John says, "Hey Bob, is the downhill starting at age 40 or did they increase it to age 50?" I'm 52, 50. How old? Yeah, and I don't feel I don't feel like it's downhill yet. I do feel though like yesterday I worked hard on the farm, and in English you would say, "Oh, I can feel it today." Like this muscle feels a bit sore and this feels a bit sore, but other than that, um, let's see. John Wedge is following Jen's channel. Brent says, "Jamie and I have watched Jen's channel. It's good stuff." Thanks, Brent. I will pass that on to her. Know that. Do you buy your milk in such large quantities or are yours smaller? I think you know what I mean. So there are different size cartons of milk also. Like you can buy half a liter, 2 liters. The big bag is actually 4 liters. That's the biggest you can buy. Let's see. Hafi has met the cats there. They're considered strays. The cats are a part of the Turkey citizens. I should go to Turkey someday to see the cats. Samuel says her subscriber grow very fast. Yes, I did. We did enjoy seeing that. A lot more flower growers are starting to watch the channel, so that is fun. Modes, I have high hopes for you. I know someone who got a hair transplant in Turkey and it turned out quite well. Nice work. Oh, that's right. Yes. I won't talk about that too much. That's more Brent's news than mine. Freddie Wolf, I hope that spring is coming soon in France. Currently we have kind of a fall season. Oh, that's strange. Here it is like, feels like summer. Big heat wave. Hafi is, yes, I've mentioned the cats, lots of cats, no mice and cockroaches. I'll take cats any day. John Wedge says, I asked about age because tomorrow I will be 40 years old. So a little fix there. Very cool, John. Happy birthday. Hope you have a good day. Freddie Wolf, Bob, are you going to have birthday while you're visiting Brent? Who knows? Maybe my birthday's after I visit Brent. We'll see. Mode says, oh, and speaking of pickles, why is that sport called pickleball? And why is it so popular all of a sudden? A. Great use of A. I don't know why it's called pickleball. There are no pickles involved, but that is the name of it. Michael says, I love Jen's channel. Just finished working on our own chicken tractor. Very cool, Michael. We love our chicken tractor. Although we have to make sure the chickens are in at night. So we have noticed some coyotes. We can hear coyotes in the distance. So that's not cool. Hey, I should get back to the lesson though. Let me turn off members only chat. Here we go. Go back to everybody can talk mode and let me finish off this lesson. Here we go. Sip of water, sip of water, or sip of water. Here we go. Okay, so this next segment is going to be a little strange. This is a carton of orange juice. This is a jug of orange juice. This is a pitcher of orange juice. So notice it's still orange juice. And I should say this again, in my part of the English speaking world, if you went to the grocery store, this is a carton of orange juice. You're going to go buy a carton of orange juice. Or you might buy a jug of orange juice. A carton is kind of like a paper container with, I think it has wax in it so it doesn't leak. And this is more of a plastic container. So I could say to Jen, do you want me to get some orange juice? Yeah, just get a small carton of orange juice or get a big jug of orange juice. Now, some people, when they get home, will put their orange juice into what's called a pitcher. So they will pour the orange juice in here, or maybe they make their own orange juice from oranges and they would put it in a glass vessel called a pitcher. Vessel? Do I really call it that? It's like a very formal term. What would I call this? I would just call it a pitcher of orange juice. So once again, a carton of orange juice. You can buy a carton of chocolate milk, a carton of orange juice, a carton of lemonade. This is what we call a carton in my part of the English speaking world. Or you can buy a jug, or you can buy a pitcher. By the way, this was also considered a jug of milk or a gallon of milk. What's next? A set of wrenches. So whenever we talk about something where like there's a certain number of pieces So you can have a set of wrenches. You can have a set of sockets, with a ratchet. Maybe you're not familiar with that. You can have a set of, I'm trying to think of what else. Let's just leave it with this. So this is a set of wrenches. Notice that these are what I would call imperial. So you can see, I guess SAE is maybe the correct term. They're not metric, by the way. This set of wrenches has 13 wrenches. There are 13 wrenches in this set of wrenches. And they are all the way from 1/4 inch up to 1 inch. Very cool. I need a new set of wrenches. I should buy one. Stack of wood. So whether it is firewood, like on the far picture, or what we would call, just wood, we might call this near picture lumber as well. You have a stack of wood. When you go cut firewood, you will create a stack of wood outside of your house, or maybe in the back entrance, and then you will use that firewood. When you buy wood from the wood store, the lumber yard, the wood store. No one says wood store. When you buy wood from the lumber yard, you might come home and stack it, and you might have a stack of wood in the place where you are going to build something. Maybe you have a little project and you have a stack of wood. Here's a familiar one. Everyone, when you wear socks, you usually wear a pair of socks. I need to buy a new pair of socks. I noticed the other day that I don't have a pair of dark blue socks, and I need them for next week because we have a formal event at our school. So I need to buy a new pair of socks. I'm not sure what happened to my last pair of socks. And then if you are someone who does consume alcoholic beverages, I know some of you don't, but if you went to buy beer, you can buy a 6-pack of beer. So a 6-pack of beer would come like this, and it would have 6 bottles in it. Or if you buy it in cans, it would be cans, and you would call that a 6-pack of beer. I don't know why when you have like a very flat stomach with lots of muscle, we call that a 6-pack. So you can say, oh, the guy at the gym can do 100 sit-ups. He's in such good shape, and then he has a 6-pack. So that doesn't mean this kind of 6-pack. It means, like, how you can, I don't have one. You know how you can see someone's stomach muscles if they're in really good shape? We call that a 6-pack. And then the last photo, a bouquet of flowers. So this is actually more than one bouquet. Here are several bouquets of flowers. These are actually from Jen's farm, but a bouquet of flowers is basically a bunch of different flowers put together and to look beautiful. So Jen often will harvest her flowers, and then she will use them to make a bouquet of flowers. Very beautiful, very nice. That's it. Bob the 6-pack Canadian. What do you call the pattern of those socks? I think it might be Argyle, Freddie Wolf. Those might be Argyle socks. I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm just going back. It's a lazy version of tennis. No, sorry, I had some connection problems, but I guess just on my side. Thanks for your answer. Yeah, I think maybe just on your side. I think everything's working. Hey, let me finish off the questions. Let's see here. From Eva, no question, but thanks for the video. Everybody loved it. It was a nice surprise for everybody. So Eva's school celebrated their 70th anniversary. Very cool. And I made a little video for them to help them celebrate. So I'm glad it worked out well, Eva. That's awesome. It was fun to just pop outside and make that for you. Aziz, hi teacher. When you were speaking about soup, you used a word that was new to me, and I think it was simmering. Yes. So when you boil water, it bubbles. When you cook soup, eventually it bubbles as well. If you turn the heat down, so the soup is just bubbling gently, like just a few little bubbles every second, we call that simmering. So something that's simmering is, I guess, basically boiling, like just boiling. So sometimes when you cook soup, you will boil water and put all the ingredients in, and then you will turn the heat down until it's just a very slow bubble, and we call that simmering. The soup is simmering. Mo, can we say scraps of wood? Scraps of wood would be pieces of wood after a project that you don't really have a use for. So if you build something and you have some pieces of wood left over, like really short pieces, we would call those scraps of wood, for sure. John says, I'm calling answer the phone. Yeah, I don't know who that was, but I think it might be the vet calling to ask how Walter's doing. So again, Walter, he got like a small injury on his paw. So I took him to the vet yesterday. He's on antibiotics now. He's doing fine. He's walking again and everything, but he was not feeling well. From Natalia, I was just wondering how exactly your family uses cucumbers from jars of pickles. I eat such cucumbers without cooking. I put them in salads and soups. They are really handy. Generally we eat pickles on things like hamburgers. So I will slice pickles and put them on my hamburgers. I think if you buy a hamburger at McDonald's, it has a couple pickles on it still. Actually, I haven't checked lately, but I think so. Let's see, from Yusuke. Hi, do you constantly repeat introducing all the vocals expressions from the past videos? If so, that's more appreciated because I don't have to go back to all of them. So these Friday lessons, I do repeat sometimes. Like I think every 8 or 9 weeks, I might do a quiz mode lesson now. I might redo a lesson because I think of some more things to add to it. But I don't really repeat too often. John Wedge. Oh, I'm sorry for Oscar. I hope he gets better soon. Sorry, Walter. Did I say Oscar? Walter hurt his paw. The black dog. Sorry. I'm not sure which dog I said. Probably both at some point. Just like when I'm talking about my kids, I get their names mixed up sometimes. I think the same thing happens with dog owners. You maybe get their names mixed up. Lolly says, Je déteste les concombres. I hate cucumbers and cucumbers hate me. I don't mind them. I like cucumbers. I like pickles, for sure. Anyways, I think we are done here. Let me check the question form and we'll wrap this up. I think that was the last question from the form. So let's go to this screen here. Yep. Okay, good. Hafia says, haha, cucumbers are refreshing. I like them. Sam says, hope Walter will get well soon. I hope so too. I hope he recovers fully. He really seems... So the video is not out yet, but I'll put a link to Jen's channel again. The video that's coming out this week, you'll see Walter, and he has like a big plastic cone. He has to wear a cone because if he doesn't, he'll try to lick his paw. So anyways, if you like flowers and you like farming and you want to see more of the farm, you can visit Jen's channel. That's up to you though. No, that says you mix up the names of your sons or girls, or yeah, mostly the boys. I get their names mixed up. I've been better lately, but yes. John says, hey Bob, no worries. Maybe I made the mess up in the names. Oh, possibly. Yes, I don't know. It's good though, because we can talk about messing up. Like, oh, I mixed up the names or I messed up the names. You can say both. So everything's an English lesson for sure. Anyways, I'm going to start saying bye to people. Bye, everybody. Bye to Lolly, John Wedge, Hafiez, Know That, Key Park, Samuel, YT. Welcome again, Samuel. I'll just wait for people to start. We need a lesson about English for engineering. Unfortunately, I'm not an English or an engineer. So know that, interesting, like daughters, normally like, how many boys and girls do you have? Like we do use boys and girls, sons and daughters. I'm trying to think, like my daughter went to work last week. My son went to work last week. Then we use it. But yeah, they're not, I have to think about that. They're not interchangeable, but it wasn't wrong the way you asked it. Do you mix up the names of your sons or girls, or like that did not seem incorrect to me. So anyways, bye to Agile, Cat Diary, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Naomi, John, Key Park, Mode, Natalia, Susmiati, Key Park, Know That, Yolib, Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you, Brent. See you in a few weeks. Hopefully all goes well and you make it home safely. And then I'll pop in. We'll do we'll do a little more sitting around and talking and a little less working on YouTube. But we will make some videos and do some live streams, hopefully. Freddie Wolf says, bye, Bob. I've learned lots of new words today. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Let me just see one last time. I was going to check something. There we go. Put that there and say bye. Bye, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. This lesson will come out in a shorter version. There will be a shorter version that comes out in a couple days. You can use that to re-listen to what you've heard today. If there were things you didn't understand, I recommend that you re-watch those segments just to kind of familiarize yourself with it. And even though I didn't know what to call this lesson, everything I talked about today is very, very common. Okay, we use all of these terms regularly: pair of socks, stack of wood, bag of milk, carton of orange juice, bowl of soup, flat of eggs, a cup of tea, spoonful of sugar. There's a song about that, by the way, spoonful of sugar. Anyways, bye, everybody. Have a good day.